There is already some people joining in. Thank you for being on time, sharp. I think we could wait a couple of minutes more to let everyone in, or to give everyone the chance to find their connection link, because it's always usually the case, and then we can start in a couple of minutes, I would say. So
Good morning, by the way.
morning, everyone. Yeah.
Morning.
Good morning.
Right, I think there are several people. Let's wait another minute and then we start. So it is now 4 past. I think we can start. So I would say we start now. So welcome everyone to to the Vanguard Initiative AI Pilot First annual event, the Digital Plenary 2021. My name is Stefanos Barbati and I'm a project manager at Steinbeis, and I am in charge of supporting the activities of the pilot on behalf of one of the 2 regions co-leading this pilot, the region Baden-Württemberg. I will be hosting this event with Domenico Guida from Arte, which is supporting the activity on behalf of the other co-lead region of the pilot, Emilia-Romagna. We will be your hosts for today's event, which was actually planned as a physical event at the beginning, and that we hope to have the chance to hold in person as soon as possible in 2022. So without further ado, let's have a look together at the agenda for this morning, and we will start with a short overview about the pilot activities in 2021, and we will highlight the main achievement and KPIs that we have actually reached during these first months of activities. Then will be the turn of the presentation for our 2 first demo cases, AI and HMI grid and AI for research efficiency in production. And they will present their activities and their results. After a quick courtesy break, we will then resume with a very interesting keynote by Mr. Philippe Moutou from Thales, who will discuss the topic of artificial intelligence as a possible, let's say, solution to cope with European industrial challenges, a keynote which will unpack this complex and very fascinating matter and provide also really thoughtful insight on what's next for Europe in this field. After Mr. Moutou's keynote, we will have what we have called a pitch session for a new demo cases concept, in which Professor Igor Skrient from Slovenia and Ms. Beatriz Vinegra from Galicia from Spain will present us with concept for possible demo cases to be launched within the AI pilot next year. We will then have some room to answer your question, both of course on the demo case, pitches in general, but also on the other presentation and the other activities of the pilot. So feel free to write down a question here in the chat or using the Q&A function of Zoom, and we will make sure to collect them and answer them during this session. We will then finish, let's say, wrap up this morning with an overview of the day and, of course, setting the main goal for the pilot for 2022. Great. I think that now that we hopefully have a clearer picture of the day, of the agenda of the day, we can get started with the first presentation of the day, AI Pilot in 2021. And this presentation is brought to you by me again and Domenico Guida. So, AI Pilot in 2021. What we would like to achieve actually with this presentation is to provide you with an overview of the main activities and achievement of the first month of the pilot. First month that we could define as the startup phase, yeah, of the artificial intelligence pilot, if you want. And to do so, we'd like to start by providing you with a time frame, yeah, of event, if you want, of the main event that took place in our first year of activities, which, as you can see, was not even a full year since we have started in May. So late 2020, as well as the first part of 2021, so roughly the period that went from the actual pilot proposal to the preparation of the actual pilot proposal to the submission to the actual approval. So this period was actually what we can define as the setup phase, yeah? And the bulk of the work there was aimed at preparing for the launch of the pilot itself, which happened in May 2021. On the 17th of May, we had in fact our first official public event, the kickoff meeting, which saw the participation of about 100 participants, and that officially launched to the public the pilot and also showcased its goal and its planned activities. After the kickoff, we have focused our activities a bit more, if you want, on the inside, in the sense that we went through a series of meetings and workshops with the different stakeholders, as we will see also in a while, and also focus our activities on the organization of internal exchange moments. So, which culminated, of course, with these two steering committees organized in July and November that actually help us to officially start up the activities of the pilot. Both these two events were in fact quite important in the economy of our pilot, since the first one was actually the one in which we approved the second demo case of the pilot, the AI for resource efficiency in production, that you will hear about in a while. And the second steering committee was actually quite important because it's the one in which we set out, if you want, possible concrete joint cooperation for the next year, mainly in the areas of Horizon Europe and other important funding programs. Right. So, actual activities. What were these activities that I was referring to a minute ago? Of course, we wanted to connect and participate with the other pilots in different Vanguard initiative activities. We took also the the time and the chance to organize bilateral conversation with the most of the region involved in the pilot, and of course also beyond the pilot. And then we have participated in a range of different events, presentation, and get-together organized by different regional innovation ecosystem actors, as well as in international level, at international level and during international activities. This is, of course, a really interesting activity from the perspective of the pilot, since it actually enabled the pilot itself to gain the necessary knowledge to bring forward the activities and the demo cases in particular, because actually this full portfolio of activities which we are actively developing at the moment are as much as possible suited toward the needs of the different regional innovation ecosystem participating. So the explicit goal would be to achieve an impact that it is in line, and is actually one of the core goals of the Vanguard initiative, and therefore to pioneer a new approach to support European industry internationalization and competitiveness by bringing regions, clusters, and stakeholders together, of course, in our case, in the particular field of artificial intelligence. Of course, these deep dive with the different regional innovation ecosystems are still ongoing, and we are currently exploring also possibilities to have a more structural exchange of regional innovation ecosystem in the field of artificial intelligence, and we'll probably discuss this later on during the day. Aside from that, we have also tried to support as much as possible the activities promoted by Vanguard and by other Vanguard actors and members, and we have, for instance, supported a range of Vanguard regions and actors for the submission of these two proposals, so one for the Financial Reserve Call 2021, and also for a cross-pilot proposal in Cross-Cutting Call 2021. Both of them were actually quite successful, and with activities planned to start as early as 2021. Right, now, talking about region. Here's the list of the regions that are committed to participate in the AI pilot in 2022. We are, of course, really happy to welcome new participating regions, so Małopolska, Piedmont, Tampere, and Wallonia here in the slide highlighted in yellow, and we are very much looking forward, of course, to see them officially involved in our activities, even though, of course, we were already starting the activities in the background. And of course, to possibly participate and join with own initiative and demo cases, which will add up to the wealth of regions that are actually already part of the AI pilot and that supported us during this first month. Aside from welcoming the new region, of course, we're also engaged in liaise and with the region interested in our activities that are not yet officially involved in the AI pilot perimeter, such as, for instance, Niedersachsen, with whom we had a very nice and interesting workshop earlier in November 2021, so this year. This roster of region that you see there is just a photography of our partnership at this very moment, and if you're not yet involved, you are, of course, very welcome to contact either your regional representative or simply get in touch with us per email with to discuss possible collaboration and, of course, joint initiative, joint events if you want. So we are open to discuss all things artificial intelligence with you. Again, our goal here is actually to execute on the Vanguard initiative vision of bringing together different regional innovation ecosystem and to take advantage of the different industrial competencies and capabilities, and also to align the strategic investment arising from these different roadmaps. Of course, as always stressed in our activities and our presentation as well, we want to focus and involve as much as possible SMEs that either are already active in the broader artificial intelligence field, or they're willing to bring their competencies to this field, or of course also their needs. Yeah, so we want to involve as much as possible SMEs in the journey toward industrial and digital transformation of Europe, of course, of the European ecosystem. Speaking of which, as host of this session today, I'd like to bring to your knowledge an initiative from the land Baden-Württemberg, which we believe is also really interesting for you, and of course in line with the spirit itself of the Vanguard Initiative. And these activities and this initiative is the Innovation Park Artificial Intelligence Baden-Württemberg. The goal of this park is in fact to establish a world-class innovation park on the topic of artificial intelligence here, physically located here in the region, in the city of Heilbronn, in the northern part of the region. The innovation park is only one of the measures brought forward by the regional government here, which puts a very high value on investing in excellent technology and research and development activities, which if we translate this into raw number accounts to about 5.8% of the GDP of the gross domestic product of the region, which is an absolute high in terms of public spending in such sector. This park, so the Artificial Intelligence Park, is in a sense the realization of the innovation policy vision of the state government and of the Ministry of Economic Affairs of the region, and it will create, as I mentioned, a large and sustainable value creation center for world-class artificial intelligence-based products and services. The goal, the explicit goal, is to create an ecosystem with an international appeal that maps the entire and cover the entire artificial intelligence value chain. So from the qualification of IT specialists to artificial intelligence research to commercialization of ethically responsible and also human-centric artificial intelligence from Baden-Württemberg. And also to create the best possible condition for the key players, yeah, in this sector. So for companies, for research players, specialists, talents, investors, and so on and so forth, not only from the region, but of course from the whole Europe and the world. The artificial intelligence and park will be also attractive for women in artificial intelligence, and will set forward-looking standards in terms of sustainability and climate protection. What is perhaps of particular interest for you today, for this audience today, is the openness that this concept brings, because actually the consortium behind the park is open to national and international cooperation in order to jointly create synergy in the field, in the broader field of artificial intelligence. And as I said at the beginning, the park is only one of the different measures that the regional government has put in place to support this technological shift, yeah, which span from programs such as AI for SMEs, so KI für den Mittelstand, which is aimed at supporting the transfer of such key technology to SMEs. And this goes, of course, hand in hand with the establishment of a set of 19 regional artificial intelligence labs throughout the territory. Also, the region here has started several funding strands, such as artificial intelligence innovation challenges and the competition AI Champions Baden-Württemberg, that aim at strengthening the international role of the region in this very strategic field. This is, of course, to give you a brief overview on the ongoing activities here in the region Baden-Württemberg, beside, of course, the one of the artificial intelligence pilot, as we think that this is a good idea, yeah, to use such events as a platform to communicate these really interesting activities and also to potentially generate interest and synergies between our respective regional innovation ecosystem. And as I was mentioning before, we are currently exploring also the best way to showcase this regional initiative that can have potentially really a great value and interest for other regions and stakeholders. And we are working on such concept, and we are likely present a format to you in the next month. Of course, this is just a very brief overview about the activities, but if you have any question on the Innovation Park, Artificial Intelligence, feel free to write it down in the chat. I believe that there is at least one representative of the regional ministry here. And of course, I can always pick up your question and answer them or forward them to the most relevant person if needed and if you are interested. Great. Let's now focus once again on the activities of the AI pilot, and let's see some key performance indicator that we are reaching in 2021. And to do this, I'll pass over to Domenico Guida. Please, Domenico.
Yes, thank you, Stefano. Thank you also from my side for all the attendees to this first annual event for the AI pilot. And just a brief introduction of myself. My name is Domenico Guida. I work for ARTER, which is a regional innovation agency in Emilia-Romagna. I'm a project manager, and I'm in charge of representing Emilia-Romagna in the co-leadership of this a pilot on artificial intelligence part of the Vanguard initiative. Yes, going on with the presentation, there is a question, and we would just have a look at the activities of the AI pilot with some figures. And in the first year of activity, since the kickoff of the pilot, we started with a number of participating regions of 15. We collected the expression of interest of other 4 regions, which expanded also from a geographical point of view the extent of the pilot. And we are, as Stefano said before, we are talking, we are in a dialogue with other 2 regions interested, and this is very good for us. There is also a good improvement in the number of demo cases. As Stefano said, the pilot right now has 2 active demo cases. At the start of the pilot, there was just one single demo case, which is the AI Demo Lab Grid that we will present later, and it just started its activities inside the pilot as the first demo case. It was as soon be next to another one demo case which has been approved during the first steering committee of the pilot itself, and we will have a presentation of this second demo case also later. And we will also have a look today at 2 new proposals and ideas for new demo cases that have to be discussed and approved hopefully approved in the next steering committee meetings. Next, we can see that there is also a good increase in the number of regional stakeholders involved in demo cases. This is one of the KPIs that we focus very much on in the proposal itself, because the main aim of the pilot is to involve directly stakeholders from regional innovation ecosystems to participate and to be able to collect revenues from the demo case participation. And we went from a number of 18 stakeholders involved in the single demo case we had before to 28.9, which is a really good increase. And these stakeholders were from 13 participating regions, and we are now at the number of regions represented inside the demo cases of 15. So these are just some numbers that usually are just to be left in the documents, let me say, and in the reports, but we wanted to share them with you just to provide some figures and concrete figures of the work that has been done in the background of the pilot, and we are very proud of this. We are just setting up a good wide network of stakeholders and regions participating that are willing to share opportunities to work together in order to foster innovation with basing on an interregional cooperation between technical and also policy stakeholders from all the regions participating. Stefano, thank you. Let's have a look at another important task that is going on inside the pilot. As you know, the Vanguard Initiative would like to position into the European scenario of already operating and next to start activities and initiatives. And in this sense, the artificial intelligence pilot has been identified as the pilot to take in charge the interaction with ADRA, which is the AI Data and Robotics Association, and that is working. It is working on the setup of the new DAIRO partnership, so Data, AI, and Robotics partnership at the European level. In particular, ADRA is the private part of the partnership, and already working organizations such as PDVA or EU Robotics, for example, are part of ADRA. The pilot has been identified as the most suitable pilot to take in charge dialogue with ADRA, and dialogue is ongoing. The idea is to work next to each other and to finally arrive to the signature of a memorandum of understanding between the Vanguard Initiative and the Next to Start DAIRO partnership in order to set up new shared activities and to share opportunities and to work together to foster application of AI-related technologies in industrial value chains with a specific focus on supporting SMEs in this process. So we are working on this. We are very proud of being in charge of this, and it is something that already started in an informal way well before the pilot was set up, because a previous partnership which the pilot took the first steps from, which was the AI and HMI interregional partnership, already was in touch with the Big Data Valley Association and already provided some hints to the strategic research, innovation and deployment agenda, which was the starting point for the work on setting up the DAIRO partnership setup. So Stefano, can you please go on? And next, we can see that there is the pilot is really active in the preparation of Horizon Europe proposals, and we are strongly focusing on cooperating with other initiatives in exploring new funding opportunities from new European programs. And there is a work going on in scouting opportunities from Horizon Europe new program, but also from other funding programs which are being released in this month from the European Commission. In this sense, it has been set up a working group inside the pilot itself, which is trying to identify and working on the identification of new funding opportunities from all the programs being released right now. Of course, there is the warm invitation for all partners, but also for just interested external partners to share ideas, concepts, and to involve the pilot in already ongoing concepts to apply for such funding opportunities. Thank you, Stefano. Looking at the already ongoing activities and the already ongoing collaboration with other projects and initiatives, I'm really proud to name the AI Regio project, which is an H2020 funded project started in the frame of AI, in the frame of efficient and sustainable manufacturing pilot of the Vanguard initiative. So it is really good to also valorize the work that has already been done from our colleagues of the efficient and sustainable manufacturing. And the project focuses on fostering the application of AI technologies for the manufacturing ecosystem and manufacturing value chains, starting from the collaboration from digital innovation hubs and technology providers. And it is a really hard-working project, let me say. And there is an agreement with the coordinators of the project to cooperate on specific tasks of the project itself, in particular with a strong connection for the AI Demo Lab grid. We will see some details in the next points of the agenda. Next to this, of course, after saying that there is again a warm invitation to share opportunities to cooperate with other projects already running or next to start, I would like also to provide you, let me say, an overview of all the other initiatives that the pilots wills to take to be in contact with and to hopefully start new cooperation patterns. As we said before, we are cooperating already. We are in an open dialogue with ADRA and the BDVA, so the Big Data Valley Association and the New Robotics Association are inside the ADRA. So two of the logos are already being covered by this dialogue. But we would also like to connect to other initiatives and hopefully start a common and shared opportunities work on next steps for the pilot itself and for the other initiatives too. So we would like to get in touch with all of them. And again, in this sense, if you already have some hints on possible common topics to work on, or if you already are contacts inside these initiatives, you are more than welcome to reach to us and to talk about this. I think that was all from this presentation. Thank you, Stefano.
Yeah, thank you, Domenico. We just wanted to give you again an overview of the activities for the first year, and of course, just want to second the invite of getting in touch with us if you have interest. Now that we have framed, let's say, the activities, we would focus a bit more specifically on the two demo cases already running within the pilot perimeter. You have already heard, let's say, many times the term demo case, these two demo cases. So now it is the chance to give you a bit more insight on that. And to do this, we will have our two speakers, our two demo case, let's say, leaders. So Domenico, once again, for AI and HMI demo grid, and Dr. Heiko Mattes from DETF later on. But let's start with the oldest demo case. So Domenico, once again, I will just stop my screen sharing now, so you could share your screen.
Yes, thank you, Stefano. Let me just share my screen. Just a second, sorry. You should see my screen now. Is it right? Perfect, thank you. Okay, so as Stefano said, we will go a bit in the details of the first demo case of the AI pilot that was the first one to be started, and which is for this reason the most developed one, and hopefully all the others will reach fast or at a fast pace all the activities that are being performed. So the first demo case is the AI Demo Lab grid. It is something that hopefully, for sure, some of the attendees already have heard about, but we will have a brief overview of the activities of the demo case in order also to align all the participants on what we are talking about. and as we will have a focus on the next steps and the foreseen activities of the demo case itself. So as a brief introduction, the AI Demo Lab Grid is something that is a demo case that has been ideated and developed in the framework of a previous running partnership, interregional partnership for artificial intelligence and human machine interface. This is what AI and HMI stands for. It was a partnership, an interregional partnership being set up inside the TSSP, Thematic Smart Specialization Platform, managed from the JRC. And from that partnership started the proposal for the artificial intelligence pilot on artificial intelligence inside the Vanguard initiative. The Demo Lab Grid was included in the proposal for the new pilot as the first demo case of the pilot, and this is why we are here today. As a brief definition, the grid is a distributed network of innovation laboratories that are keen to provide innovation technical services to SMEs, not only on AI, but also on AI-related technologies, so including augmented reality, virtual reality, user experience technologies, and the main pattern to provide these services inside the grid is the in cooperation on an interregional basis of technical stakeholders from participating regions. The AI Demo Lab Grid, as we said already, so this is just a repetition, has a long history, and as we said, a strong focus on providing services directly to the interested value chains of industrial ecosystem, with a strong focus on supporting SMEs, so small and medium enterprises, in applying AI technologies directly inside their production environments. So, as a distinctive identity for the grid itself, we have always said that all the activities of the grid have to be directly considering the application of AI technologies for SMEs, and SMEs are the entities that need to draw the measured benefits from the grid activities. These are the two key points at the basis of the idea of the grid itself, and at the basis of the deployment of the structure of a structure that can be able to provide services to SMEs. Looking a bit in detail from a technical point of view, 5 relevant fields of application of AI technologies for SMEs have been identified from a specific technical and scientific committee for the demo case itself. And these 5 fields are deployed in 5 distributed demonstration laboratories. These 5 distributed demonstration laboratories are focusing on 5 different fields of applications. The first one is the user lab, which is focusing on all that concerns the collection and handling and ethical aspects of data coming from human operators, users, and clients, and as a good participation from academia, let me say, concerning the participating laboratories, and it is strongly working on this on the relevant things about collecting data from users, from humans. The second one is the Cobot Lab, which is focusing on cooperative robots, machines, and production lines, and all application of AI technology to new relevant cooperative and social robotics. The third one is called In-Depth Lab, and focuses on the collection of data from already running industrial process lines, but also on the design and deployment of new intelligent, smart machines that are able to collect data in a continuous way and in a valuable way for all the work that has to be done onto the data after their collection. The fourth laboratory is the Control Lab, and focuses on the deployment of AI-enhanced machine controlling strategy services. This includes several topics, starting from quality assurance and maintenance, digital twins, automation improvement, and all other activities that are to be performed in order to manage and control a production line, also exploiting opportunities coming from application of AI technology. Last but not least, there is the human machine interface laboratory, which focuses on augmented reality, virtual reality, adaptive supportive interface, and in general, to all the technologies that are currently modifying the concept of interface into a concept of assistance, mutual assistance between human and the machines. So these are the 5 laboratories, and we are working on these 5 strong relevant fields of application for AI technology. Looking at the structure really briefly, not going into the details, but the idea is that these 5 laboratories will be distributed laboratories among all the applicant laboratories that are willing to join. When we are talking about applicant laboratories, we are talking of already working laboratories, already working entities, being able to provide such kind of services directly to SMEs or companies in order to improve their innovation patterns. These laboratories apply on a voluntary basis and are invited to compile a technical questionnaire in order for us coordinators to know the value of the laboratory that are applying, and in order also to collect relevant information that are being used right now to define the governance and the technical structure topics of the grid itself. The grid will operate directly with customers, but there are different ways that laboratories can reach out to customers and vice versa. So we will have a look at them just in the next point. As we said before, the grid is not working alone. The grid needs and is willing to and is working to cooperate with already other running and setting up activities and networks. There is also the need to find synergies with other relevant activities for and initiatives and networks that are willing the same to provide services to SMEs and companies. And in this specific task, we are just looking at cooperating with new next to come European digital innovation hubs, and a good number, let me say, of the participating entities are involved in proposals for European digital innovation hubs. This is a strong relevant point for the grid itself. We are strongly working on it. Looking at the strategy and the value proposition of the grid itself, as we said, these 5 distributed laboratories that are being set up are made by the cooperation of other entities which are already running and working in the provision of services to companies and SMEs. They cooperate on a win-win strategy. There is a win, more than a win point for innovation laboratories that are participating, because the first one comes from the participation to the setup of a common service portfolio for the grid itself, that will allow laboratories to share know-how, facilities, and start new cooperation patterns in order to provide services next to other laboratories. But at the same time, laboratories will be able to reach out to SMEs out there that come from other regions than their own, and to be in contact with high-level laboratories from other regions. So in this sense, interregional cooperation has a double win point. The first one coming from the complementing of the service portfolio of a single laboratory by means of cooperation with other laboratories, but also in expanding the possibility to expand their client portfolio, also reaching out to other SMEs. For SMEs and companies, of course, the most interesting win point is the ability to receive high-level technical innovation services from a wide network of laboratories, always potentially interfacing with the local laboratories. So the SME that is already in touch with its regional contact point for innovation, so from the local laboratory, can just reach out to other services and other technologies coming from other regions. Just some figures for the grid itself. We are now at a good number of laboratories involved that signed the voluntary expression of interest. Laboratories are coming from 14 regions involved, and they are in a number of 28. And we are also working on spreading the geographical coverage in order to cover also white areas, let me say, that we can see on the map. This is because next to a technical good coverage, we would like to also to have a good geographical coverage in order to allow SMEs to get in touch easily with the network itself from all the regions participating in the pilot. Looking at some figures again, this is a graph of the working area preference of laboratories. Laboratories signing the expression of interest, as I said, are asked also to compile a questionnaire, technical questionnaire, and to provide to declare their interest in participating to the activities and to the services provided by each of the 5 distributed laboratories. As we can see, there is a good homogeneous interest of laboratories in all the 5 distributed laboratories of the grid. We just provided value to the interest, to the preference that is asked into the questionnaire as high, medium, and low, with some numbers, so 1, 0.5, and 0.25, in order to have a graph. And this represents the interest of laboratories into the distributed laboratories of the grid. So good coverage. We are recovering a bit, a small gap that the first demo lab had at the start, and 14% is now a good percentage, let me say, of interest from laboratories. And we will work again, we will continue working on this in order to have a good coverage of all the activities of the laboratories by the active laboratories itself. Last figure, I think, is about the origin of laboratories applied in the grid. And this is a really important point, let me say, because we would like to highlight that laboratories participating in the grid are not only working on research area, but they are strongly focused on the reach out to directly SMEs. And this reflects in this graph also on a nature origin based classification of participating laboratories. As we can see, more than 75% of laboratories are in the form of public or public-private consortium, so they are working as private entities. 20% come from academia, and they are mostly academic laboratories, but they are open to provide services to SMEs, so they are more than happy to cooperate inside the AI Demo Lab grid. Briefly, as we said already, ongoing activities are really, let me say, really fast going. First of all, we are working on the identification of patterns already existing for cooperation of laboratories inside the grid, and on the fine-tuning of a business plan which needs to be sustainable, self-sustainable for the grid itself, but also for each single demonstration laboratory. There is a continuous collection of interest in order to have a good coverage and geographical coverage too, as we said, but the grid is strongly working on identification of funding opportunities, and in particular for some opportunities come from new Digital Europe program, and the grid is represented in several working groups that are focusing on this task, and we are working hard on this because we think that the participation of laboratories to the grid is relevant, of course, but next steps need to have a solid funding opportunity to start operatively providing services to SMEs as a grid. Planned activities for 2022. There is a recognized need to set up a dashboard to present the services and activities on the grid, and also to provide a clear view to all customers about all the activities of the grid and the composition of the grid, and some figures in order to present the grid and its operative approach. But of course, there is also the need to define a shared service catalog of services, so a shared portfolio, to foster the setup of interregional cooperation patterns, and also to reach out to SMEs directly with a common set of services. As I said before, there is also a good task which is going on really good on the scouting of funding opportunities. In this sense, we are working to identify Horizon Europe calls and Digital Europe calls for proposals. Both are important. The first one is focusing on structuring a network of cooperation inside the grid itself to start up interregional cooperation. And while the second one, of course, is more focusing on potential opportunities for investments to set up the distributed laboratories, and in order to allow already running laboratories to upgrade their facilities, collect new know-how opportunities, and to share later inside the grid itself. Last but not least, as I said before, there is a good cooperation with the AI Regio project, and it is strongly focusing on on a specific task, which is the setup of the didactic factory ecosystem, which is going on inside the project itself. Really relevant activity, and an activity that has several contact points with the grid itself. And so we would like to valorize the work both of the project AI Regio and of the grid in this task. Two laboratories participating in the grid are already involved in this didactic factory ecosystem setup, and we are looking for next steps. Next to this, we are also looking to other projects that are strongly relevant for the activity of the grid. First, among the others, we have here two projects represented in this slide. The first one is DIH for AI, the second one is Kit for SME, but we are looking for other relevant projects to cooperate with in order to maximize the opportunities for the participating laboratories. I think that was all from my side for the AI Demo Lab grid. As Stefano said, please do not refrain to use the chat box of the meeting itself, or the question and answer tool that the Zoom platform hosts, to ask questions about the demo case, and we will face them during the question and answer session at the end of the meeting. So
Thanks
thank
a
you.
lot. Thanks a lot, Domenico, for this very interesting overview. It is now time for our second demo case. So we are already 5 minutes late, not a big deal, but nevertheless, let's go quickly to Dr. Heiko Mattes from the ETF, or the German Institute of Textile and Fiber Research, Denkendorf. So please, Heiko, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Stefano. Welcome also from my side. My name is Heiko Mattes. I'm coming from the DITF Denkendorf in Germany, near Stuttgart. DITF is one of the Europe's largest textile and fiber research centers. And in principle, we cover the complete textile value chain from polymers up to final products, as well as the cording process and machinery technology. So this is the focus we are looking at. And of course, that's of course because our demo case I will present now. So the demo case is AI for resource efficiency in production, will therefore, of course, have a more or less a textile focus. But of course, we are also open to other branches which are similar compared to textile industry, but not from the product itself, but more on the type of processes which are mainly continuous or bulk processes. For example, if you look at the textile finishing process, which are of dyeing, for example. So the motivation we have here for this demo case is that the manufacturing industry, and in our case mainly textile, is facing an increasing complexity of the products, because the customers want to be more involved in the product development. They want to have more individual products. They want to have resource efficient products. They want to know how many carbon, or how large the carbon footprint or the water use of textile process products is. And therefore, also the complexity of the product development and the production process is also increasing in the last years. So for us, one solution, of course, is digitization and AI technology. And therefore, we set up these demo case to show our SMEs of the textile and accompanying industries the value and the worth of digitization and AI solutions. And therefore, we developed some kind of demonstrators, which I show you in the end of the presentation. And we focus on this demo case on textile industry, and therefore the technical development of products or the development of production recipes for kind of plastics materials or polymer combinations to develop fibers or man-made fibers, for example. So that's the motivation for our demo case, and the objective therefore would be that we show the value and the potential of AI-based processes and the AI-based process optimization with regard to energy and resource efficiency. On the one hand, of course, we want to we reduce as much as possible the consumption of energy and resources. Therefore, in our perspective, would be the main point on the first access point for that is the optimization of the process ramp up for the new products. And for example, after changes in the production stream, if we change the product and you reset up the machine for a former product, then typically in textile industry, you produce some meters of textile material, fabrics or yarns, and then you have a check of the product quality, and then after that you reset up, if necessary, the machinery. to this point where the production process and the produced quality comes to a maximum, which is possible and affordable for the product. And in this case, which is called the technical development or the machinery setup and so on. And our idea is to reduce this part of the process due to the implementation of AI solutions to evaluate in the forehand the optimal machine setup and the process parameters based on from former experience, based on process and product data from quality control and entrance control on the companies. And therefore the idea is to, as I said, to reduce the ramp-up phase, not to produce 100 or 200 meters to reach an optimal product, but it's mainly 10 or 20 meters of production to reach the product, which means that you, of course, save energy and resources and capacities of the production machinery, and of course you save resources of materials which can then be used for production of products and not for the ramp-up phase. The second pillar would be the monitoring and optimization of running production processes, which goes a bit in the direction of the detection of machine stops in before they appear, and it goes a bit in predictive maintenance and predictive quality of the produced and production stream. The solution we want to bring to the companies, to SMEs, would be digital twins for the acquisition and aggregation of production and product information and product data. Then we want to introduce the method or of material flow and cost accounting, which means that you have a short look at your products, your process, and then you can use databases and which are integrated in the tools, or which are online tools, are available in online tools, to define how many costs you produce. You could be accounted to the different product steps and the production steps, and of course you can also add information on carbon footprint, water, used water, for example, which is very important in textile industry. And we want to combine these two things, digital twins and MFCA methodology and MFCA models, with AI technology, with the AI methodology, to find optimal solutions for these problem we are facing in the resource efficiency for the production setup. The regions involved are at the moment is Baden-Württemberg, because we are a rather new demo case, and we have interested regions, which is northeast Romania, which is Trentino and South Tyrol, which are interested in these demo case, but not yet involved. We are working on that, but of course we are open to new and to other regions, demo case partners, which are interested in this topic. And the main point, or our main USP, which we are focusing, is to, of course, applying AI in the production stream and product development, but we want to offer demonstration events, demonstration activity, and demonstrators to SMEs and, for example, professional associations to, as I said, introduce AI and digitalization in these kind of industry sector, which is up to now not that far, or the textile industry up to now not that far than such other industry sectors. And what we also plan is to bring some kind of training of SMEs in AI applications. So this is also what we want to offer in these demo case. similar to the demo case you heard before. So we have we are looking for some kind of not really labs, but research institutes, other companies which can offer service and support in these field for SMEs. The target groups, of course, for target group for demo case would be SMEs for textile industry, from textile industry and joining sectors, for example, plastic or rubber. We're looking at machine provider, software provider, so professional associations and professional communities as multiplier, which we can support us for to reach the SMEs. And for the demo cases partners, as I said, we are looking for other research institutions or also professional associations and communities, which then can introduce our ideas to the SMEs. The activities which we are facing in these demo cases, the list is not that long as we had before, so we are running what you can up to now running is the end user need specification. Then we have elaborated a demonstration concept, which I want to show you in afterwards. And also we started with designing of the first demonstrator, the planned event of planned activities. Of course, as I said, we want to expand the network with more regions involved in these topics. We want to set up the demonstrators, the draft demonstrator I'll show you right after the presentation. And of course, we want to set up some kind of demonstration events with SMEs. Okay, so I saw that there is already a question, but I guess we answered it afterwards. Okay.
Yes, we answered them afterwards.
Okay, then I'll come to it.
There are 5 minutes left. So
okay, that's no problem. So the idea, the first demonstrator we are showing is has two main steps. The first one is a material, as I said, is a material flow analysis, the method as I explained before, and of course the material flow and cost accounting. I will not go as too far into the detail because the presentation is available afterwards, so you can read all the information which are the difference between material flow analysis and the material flow cost accounting. But the thing what I want to show you is that you afterwards get some kind of model which go through all the relevant process steps, and then you can add information to these different steps. For example, cost for paper. If you look at the printer over here, where's my mouse? It's over here. So you have the printer, and then you get information on paper, how much paper you use, how much ink is used, how much electricity is used, and then you can also add information on cost, personnel cost, energy cost, water consumption, and so on. And this goes for the complete process we are looking at. And of course, also here, it's a potential to maybe get information which process or how to set up the process, or if it's more affordable to not set up a machinery, but just leave them 2 days not working instead of reassemble it twice, because it's the cost might be higher if you change the machinery. The information you get from this part of the demonstration is of this part of the method is that you've got information on cost, waste percentage, cost on CO2 or the carbon footprint. And what I want to show you here is that we have a demonstration concept which is focused on presentation or information in as form as a presentation. For the next step would be also the data-driven resource efficiency for circular knitting machines. So we have a project which is nationally funded, and based from that, we developed some information which are relevant. We conducted them in the presentation in different slides, and we will accompany these information with an interactive point where I go now to. I hope you see a different screen, so no longer the presentation.
Yes.
But in this case, we use the tool which is called a Jupyter Notebook, where it's possible to combine or set up combination of text and explanation, and in this case Python code. And this is it's possible to develop these code within the browser, and then also you can run it with the browser. And you can, the idea is that we define some kind of demonstrators, interactive demonstrators, which are prepared with some information, which some learnings. And the idea I show here is one of the demos, the use cases or applications in the presentation. And what we are focusing here, we have information collected on a knitting machine, focused on the wear of the needles. So if the needles are worn, normally they break, and the idea here is to detect the degree of wearing of the needles before they break, and to replace it with new ones. And then we have the information focusing on we collect it by sensors, and then we go to this notebook, and then you got the information code, and you can run it here. And then you can see also the information. And this is one of the demonstrators we want to use to show that applying AI is no longer that these kind of rocket science as maybe the main of the people in our industry sector think about it. So therefore I skip to the next slides and come to the end of my presentation, and thank you for your attendance. I will come to these 5 questions later on.
Yeah, we will pick up question later.
Exactly. Yeah, and this is the team. It's me and my colleague Dieter Stermach and Stefano Sparbati, which is the host of today's meeting. So thank you very much.
Great, thanks. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Heiko, and thanks a lot, Domenico, also for the presentation. Before, I think after these 2 presentations, you should have actually a very good idea on what the actual activities of the pilot were for what regards the 2 demo cases. Now we will do a quick convenience break. We will be back at 11:20, so it would be great if you could be at 11:20 back sharp, because we will have our keynote for today, during which Mr. Philippe Moutou from Thales will provide us with an interesting perspective on artificial intelligence at, let's say, a more meta level. So we will.